Welcome to my 5-minute tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at the breath control and how we use it in different motions in our techniques. So the first form of breath control is just on a single technique, sharp exhalation of air at the moment of impact. So we breathe in normally, and then as we make connection or we finish the movement, there's a sharp exhalation of air, the abdominal muscles tense, and the air is shut off, maybe by using your tongue. So we don't breathe out of the nose, we breathe out of the mouth, but it's not a big or a noise. Really, it should be quite quiet. So something like this, that sort of action. So making sure we're tensing the abdominals and we're forcing that air out. The next type of breath control is a continuous motion. Now we first learn this when we start performing pattern dangan with the low block and the rising block. Now with a continuous motion, the actual motion and the breath go together. So the motion after the first technique doesn't finish, it doesn't stop. Sorry, it does finish, but it doesn't stop. So it has to go one and then straight into the next block or the next technique. And the breath, you breathe in normally, and there's 2 accentuations of breath with 2 complete sine waves. So that's the explanation of a continuous motion. The techniques continue from one to the next. The breath is normal breath in, and then 2 accentuated breaths out, and you have to create complete sine waves for both technique. So when I say complete sine waves, I mean when you start off with the sine wave, say you're in a sitting stance punch, the first thing you do is go down first, then you create that up and down motion and that backward motion. So within that continuous motion, you would do the first technique, then slightly down before you go up to do the second technique. The next breath, or the next motion, is a fast motion. Now, you come across this when you first start learning Do-san. After the front snap kick, you do 2 punches as you land in a fast motion. So the breath for that is 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out. So you're doing 2 complete breaths. 1, 2, really fast. Create that fast motion. And also, there doesn't have to be that extra dip, that extra backward motion, that extra opposite direction in between the techniques. So the second sine wave, if you like, is used from the first down motion. So you're just going to go 1, 2. So as we come down, 1, 2, this way, as opposed to this way. So you see, it creates that fast motion. The next motion and breath is a connecting motion. Now a connecting motion has 2 movements. It has 1 sine wave and 1 breath. So connecting motion, you first come across this when you start learning pattern Yulgok, and you do the palm hooking block and obverse punch. So that motion would be from this position, this way. So you see you're coming up and down with that long breath. Maybe there is a little bit of an accentuation on that first one, but it's not sharp. Because normally when you do a connected motion, it's a block followed by an attack, normally. So they're the 3 types of breath, types of actions. Single action, single motion, single technique, 1 sharp exhalation of air at the moment of impact. Then we have a connecting motion where we do 2 accentuated breaths out on each technique, and remembering that 1 technique finishes, but it continues into the next technique. And we have to have 2 complete sine waves. And the next motion is a fast motion where you breathe in, and then it's breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So you've got those 2 breaths on each technique, or 1 breath on each technique. And you don't need that extra dip in between the sine wave motion, because the second sine wave is created from the first, okay? Then you have the connecting motion. So the connecting motion has 2 movements, 1 sine wave, 1 breath, okay? So hopefully that's explained a little bit more about single technique, breath control, continuous motion and the breath control, fast motion and the breath control, and connecting motion and the breath control. Okay, so great. Hopefully you can join me for my next 5-minute tutorial, Take care, have a good week. Thank you.